Well, hello. I'm gonna do this recording for explaining average rate of change. Hopefully it will be helpful. So it is coming from Desmos activity in a soft chalk lesson about average rate of change. It's 1C. So here's our function. And the endpoints are given to be able to find the average rate of change. X equals -3 and x equals -1. So I'm going to call this point as x1, this point as x2. Average rate of change is change in y over change in x. Well, change in y, this is slope actually, but we're seeing it in more general form, in more higher language or math form. So average rate of change then will be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right, sometimes you might want to write it y1 minus y2, then at the bottom you need to write x1 minus x2. That's one of the common mistakes students do. If you started with y2, you need to start with the x2 at the bottom. That's one. The other thing is this minuses will get you on the way, so be careful about the minus sign. You might have an x2 value negative and two negatives, negative will become positive. So we're going to see this in this question also. So that's how I'm going to name them. You might want to name x equals -3 as x2. It doesn't matter really. So f of x1 will produce my y1 value. Then f of -3 will be equal to y1. Then f of -3 is going to be -3 squared minus 3 times 3 plus 1. Okay, one of the mistakes might happen with this negative. Okay, be vigilant about that. So you're taking a square of the input and you're multiplying the outside result with -3. That's one thing. So f of -3, then it will become -9. -3 squared is 9, but we do have a negative. -3 times -3 is +9 plus 1. This will simplify. F of -3, which will turn out to be y1 value. Okay, y1 will become 1. Okay. F of x2 will be equal to our y2. x2 is given as -1. F of -1 will be equal to parentheses -1 squared minus 3 times -1. Everywhere we have seen x, we plug in -1. All right, then -1 squared is 1 times -1. -3 times -1 is +3 minus 1. This will simplify. Okay, then we're going to end up f of -1 equals 3, which will produce us y2 value. Okay, then y2 is 3. Okay, so how are our coordinate couples? x1, y1. x1 is -3. y1 is 1. x2, y2. x2 is -1. y2 is 3. Okay, now I'm going to take this couple, x1, y1, x2, y2, then write down the average rate of change. y2 minus y1, 3 minus 1. I have started here, then minus 1. Then I need to go back and start here, -1, -3. Top, I have 2. Bottom, -1 plus 3. Okay? Then average rate of change will be equal to